I've learned to avoid talking too much about things that obsess outsiders, like cattle rustling, civil war, and such matters as, quote unquote, the impact of these indices on that factor, which leads to an overall conclusion about the status of the girl child. I now see Karamoja's supposed refusal to develop as a reverse side of something else. Much more than other parts of Uganda, Karamoja emerged from colonial rule with its culture nearly unscathed. Because of that, the British said it was backward. When the British were gone, the new rulers mocked and mistreated it. Karamoja had suffered, but he did not let go.
Some years back, I found myself in the audience of a spiritual elder who challenged many notions I had received about pre-colonial Africa, including the popular belief that men had all the power and women had none. According to this elder, society in those days viewed the two genders as twin strands of the divine energy that creates and sustains life on this planet. So every level of spiritual and secular authority was thought to have a masculine and feminine form. In the court traditions of Buganda, Toro, and Bunyoro, kings ascended to the throne with their sisters. More notably, the highest office in the kingdom was not the king's throne, it was the office of the Queen Mother. Thus, in Bunyoro, the Queen Mother presided over the ritual marking a prince's ascension to becoming a king. But the high priest conducted the actual public enthronement ceremony. Similarly, binary practices mark the rise to authority of clan heads and heads of homesteads.
I was thinking about the importance of ritual and culture and how that acts as a bond for society. Now imagine you're talking about a very large society, say a nation, and then suddenly one day you've been told those rituals are not allowed. That they're not allowed. Not only are you not told that they're not allowed, that they're backward, but you also told they're criminal or they're satanic. They're sinful. And that standing up to honor each other is not actually what bonds you together, but it's the reason why you're backward and you're not. I speak for myself, but I also think I speak largely for some of the thinking that went into creating this book.
Leonarda continued with her instructions. Remember, he's not your brother. He's likely not to tolerate your shortcomings. Bear that in mind. So be very careful. Do not disrespect him or his people. Do whatever he tells you, even at short notice. Do not answer or question him. Do not be surprised if he slaps you. It does not mean he hates you. It could simply be a point of correction. It could even be just a habit. This should not unnerve you at all. Never give back in words or action. Remember, you are leaving your home here and going to his home. One more thing, inform him when you see blood. Now you go and get your second dress from the house.
We all know this thing called the Bantu people, where a group of people moved from somewhere and settled in various places, and wherever they settled, they absorbed some of the languages and customs and then formed the different groups that we now have. There has always been that cross-cultural influence, but in my view, I think it is positive or beneficial when it happens organically. It's problematic when it is imposed on you by force.
So at times I think, is it why marriages these days are splitting so easily? Is it because people don't tolerate? Is it true that it was different, or because there is something we we have let go. On both sides, even the women, even the men. So I don't know, but I wrote this because I had a lot of admiration for the patience that everybody had.
While I agree that tradition should never stay static, I think culture and tradition are different things. I think culture is the underlying principles that inform tradition. For instance, we as Africans believe in the idea of collective security over individual liberty, whereas the Western culture is fundamentally built on the principle of individual liberty over collective control.
Remembering the future, it is actually a paradox. You can't remember the future. But through this, he was looking at cultures and how they are changing, yet so many aspects of it, of the good culture, are being left behind.
You know, you have to be proud as an African. As a writer, I think for me it was a question of responsibility to immerse myself in the totality of African heritage to finally be able to write. Thank you very much.